welcome to the Resources Roadhouse. I'm Wally Graham, and today I am joined by Andrew Paterson of Great Boulder Resources. Andrew, very, very busy this week. You've released a couple of announcements from your Sidewell Gold Project in WA. Let's get into them first. So the first one you released was some news from the Mulga Bill deposit. Talk us through the announcement. What's happening there?
Yeah, this is a really good one, actually. Well, they're both very positive announcements, but Mulga Bill's interesting in the sense that it's an area that we initially started working on 3 years ago, did a hell of a lot of drilling along there, concentrating on about 1 kilometre of strike and got all of that area into a resource, 568,000 ounce resource. And then we kind of parked it up for the last, well, getting on for sort of 9 months now, and have been concentrating on exploring peripheral areas for kind of satellite deposits. So this is the first work that we've done back at Mulga Bill for quite some time. And it's the first time that we've stepped outside immediately north of the resource. And it's an area that we've been wanting to drill for quite a while. And straight away, we've hit this high-grade vein over 150 metres of strike and possibly up to 350 metres. So, you know, that in itself, kind of low-hanging fruit in the sense that we were aware of that as a target for quite a while. But the fact that we've gone back in there and hit it immediately is tremendously exciting. And also the fact that it's a material or will be a material increase to that resource. So that is also, you know, really good.
All right. So being, as you're just sort of saying, like the first time you've gone out there, you've hit an extension straight away. That, I mean, obviously that sort of encourages you. Okay, well, further drilling is demanded.
Yeah, that's right. So the concept that we had in mind was that there's these veins, if you like, plunging to the north, and we were drilling back the other way. So we always knew there was a pretty high likelihood that we would hit some of these things. But we didn't know, you know, and there was no data there, and so, you know, the fact that we've nailed it, some really high grades in there, up to 102 grams a ton. It's the shallowest part of the resource, so that's where it's closest to surface, and therefore we think, you know, there's probably a very good likelihood that will be mineable. So it's a big step forward for the whole project, I think.
All right, and you back this up straight away with more results from the Saltbush deposit, which is also at Sidewell. Yeah, talk us through that one.
Yeah, so this one's interesting. It's a target that also we'd had for quite a while, and it took us a while last year to get in there, getting all our approvals in place. We started drilling there just before Christmas, and also hit high-grade mineralisation there almost immediately on the second drill hole. So that success at Saltbush has been a really good validation of our exploration targeting methodology, and we've now extended that. This recent drilling's extended the mineralisation by about 40 metres along strike, so it's now, you know, 300 getting on to 350 metres long. It's a much simpler style of mineralisation than ironbark. Than Mulga Bill. It's like our other deposit, ironbark, which is a very simple orogenic, steeply dipping near surface, you know, really easy to mine these kind of things. And that's exactly what we've been looking for, near surface high grade mineralisation. So Saltbush is coming up trumps. So yeah, two very positive bits of news on consecutive days, which is obviously great, and you know, very, very busy time for us.
So what does it mean for the entire project? Like you've been talking up Sidewell for quite some time, and so getting a couple of results out like this, bang bang on the back of each other, that sort of speaks volumes for the project itself, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and I guess there's two ways of looking at it, and one is that, you know, Mulga Bill is kind of, that's big, and that's still where the majority of the ounces are, and where we think the majority of the large scale growth potential will be. But the other things like Saltbush and ironbark and hopefully future similar discoveries are going to be important because they're at surface and you can start mining ore there on day one. So one of the reasons we're particularly excited about Mulga Bill is it just keeps getting bigger, and the fact that every time we go back there and drill more holes, we find more gold, underpins our confidence that that is a really big system. And it kind of, I'd often describe it as the gift that keeps on giving, because the more we find out about it, the more we learn and the more confidence we have that it's going to get bigger. So yeah, Mulga Bill will be kind of the mothership, if you like, but all these other things are going to help feed ounces into the eventual mining profile.
Well, it's good to see you're on your bike at Mulga Bill there. That's which is all well and good. So I couldn't resist that. That line had to be delivered sometime throughout the interview.
Yeah.
But all right, so Mulga Bill and Saltbush, and you also touched on the other deposit there at the same time. Are you going to stay on the Saltbush and Mulga Bill, or are you going to move across?
Well, Ironbark's pretty mature, so we think we haven't entirely closed it off a long strike, but we've done a fair bit of work on that. So there's 100,000 ounces there. So we're now progressing a mining lease application over that, and that's kind of work in progress with mining agreement negotiations through the rest of this year. But aside from those three targets, we're doing more, our very first drilling program, I should say, at a relatively new project just south of town called Polel. This is really some very preliminary drilling, so it's kind of almost like a fact-finding mission. We wouldn't anticipate making material discoveries in the first round of holes, but that'll be really interesting to see what we get down there. And then we're progressing exploration planning through south of Saltbush, which is getting right down the bottom end of our project onto some new tenure that we haven't worked on previously. So again, more targets down there that are in planning and undrilled. So yeah, a lot of things to look at. One key question that comes up quite regularly is how many ounces are enough? And obviously there's no set number, there's no rule on these sorts of things, but our strategy is really to continue to grow the resource and also to move it towards scoping studies early next year. So that's kind of almost two separate streams of work. One is to advance the deposits we've already got, but the other one is to find new stuff at the same time. So we're busy on both fronts.
Yeah, well, growing a resource at a deposit never really hurt anybody, so that's always good to be on the ball. All right, so obviously there's some more work going to be going on. Are we going to get hit with more more simultaneous announcements coming out, or are we going to have a rest until you get some more results out?
Yeah, well, to be honest, that's quite unusual, and as I'm sure you know, it's kind of at the mercy of the assay lab, and sometimes they move stuff through quicker than you expect, and jobs can kind of concertina, which is what happened here. We drilled the Saltbush stuff first and the Mulga Bill stuff immediately after it, and basically got all the assays back at the same time. So it just took us a little longer to process the two announcements and get all the maps and stuff ready. That is an unusual situation. Hopefully we have a fairly logical flow of news from now on, but can never tell in advance, so we'll see what happens.
All right, well, as always, Andrew, we'll be keeping an eye out for it, and we'll be knocking on the door again for another chat very soon.
Sounds great. Thank you, Wally. Appreciate that.